Well, some people fear that we are rolling into World War III. I have the following to say. Bomb, 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 Iran. 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 Bomb, Iran. Bomb, Iran. You got me rocking and a rolling, rocking and a bomb, Iran. My name is Micah Curtis, the new guy meme personified.
And I'm Alex Baldwin, and that was a pretty good John McCain impression, huh?
6 out of 10. Anyway, welcome to the Micah and The Hatman on Politics Live. Actually, hold on a second. I just realized we're actually not on the right thing. Anyway.
Not on the right thing.
Alright. Let's go ahead and get started. I actually goofed on something that I have to fix real quick. So topic number 1 was supposed to be the how this whole thing got started, but as you can see here, I accidentally saved over the wrong file when it comes to what we're supposed to be discussing. So no, on the Politics podcast, we will not be talking about food wars.
Sorry, spoiler alert for the next show.
Oh God! But let's say hi to the chat. Some people are giving me some shit about that joke. Look, I don't like the Iranians, guys, but it is good to see you guys here. Oh goodness! And yes, I am fully aware that I look like the new guy meme. Somebody pointed it out to me. And it's like, dude, there's a sketch of that somebody did of New Guy that looks exactly like you. And I'm like, really? So I looked at it and I'm like, holy crap, that is me. Like, they sketched me. Like the buzz cut, the chin strap, like that's me. That's my trademark look. So yeah.
There you go, congratulations.
So let's go ahead and get started, though. I'll try to fix this thing real quick. Hatman, talk to us about how this whole thing got started.
What, war with Iran, or how the whole food wars?
No, the thing with Iran. So specifically the attack on the embassy.
So there was an attack on a U.S. embassy in, it was Iraq, right?
Yes,
I believe it was Iraq.
Baghdad.
Yes. And this was backed by Iran, because of course it was. And this was a big fucking deal. I mean, people were talking about it like, oh my God, is this going to escalate into something worse? Well,
let's not talk about the escalation yet. Let's specifically talk about this. So what all happened exactly with the whole thing in Baghdad? How did this whole thing come about?
If I remember correctly, it was basically a protest about U.S. involvement in the Middle East. It was supposed to be a get the hell off our lawn. Will you get the hell off our lawn if we threaten to kill every single one of you here? And obviously, it didn't fucking work.
So what was Trump's response to this?
Trump's response was to blow the fuck out of arguably the second most powerful...
Well, no. Hold on. Okay, so Hatman's not following the timeline. So
no, I'm not following the timeline at all.
So here's because we're supposed to take this piecemeal. So for a lot of people who don't really understand what the significance of this particular instance was, is that a lot of people, as this was unfolding, were starting to say that this would be Trump's Benghazi. Now, here's the thing. First and foremost, these are the same people who were saying that Benghazi was a nothing burger. Or saying this is going to be Trump's Benghazi. So what was Donald Trump's response to this particular thing going on at that exact moment, which is what I meant? He sends in the Marines immediately. One phone call, there's a Marine detachment there that gets all of these guys away from our embassy immediately.
He didn't even have to blame a YouTube video.
No, he didn't have to blame a YouTube video. No Americans lost their lives, by the way, because of the proper response.
Mm-hmm.
Donald Trump would not allow that to happen. He said, let's get our people out of there. Let's get them away from our embassy immediately. And here's something that needs to be mentioned. The groups that we have largely been facing off against in Iraq after the fall of Saddam Hussein have been backed by the Iranians.
Gee, I wonder why.
And there's going to be there's three parts to this that we're going to be discussing. But I want to build up to that third part because the third part's important. When it comes right down to it, we've been waging a proxy war with Iran in Iraq for a long time. And it's Iran who's been the aggressor. Bar none. They're the ones who constantly gave bombs and weaponry and things like that to these groups in Iraq to kill U.S. soldiers. That was their goal. Kill U.S. soldiers. That's it. Their whole thing was basically to try to take over and try to get the United States to kowtow to them, which is what Obama did. Now, Hatman. Generally speaking, do you think that these sorts of things were emboldened by the Obama administration? Yes or no?
Yes. Yeah. Obama basically showed his belly. Despite all of the drone strikes and whatnot, Obama showed his belly to these fucking people. I mean, he gave them a pallet of cash. He went on an apology tour immediately after being elected. There was no show of force. There was no carrying of a big stick, if you will. It was quite literally just, don't do anything or we're going to be really upset with you and we're going to tell the media how upset we are and we're going to get the UN to put sanctions on you and bullshit. Bullshit.
Yeah. That is what has emboldened these sorts of things. It's nothing that Donald Trump has done. Not to mention, the Iranians have been attacking, the America for 40 years. According to them, we've been at war with them for 40 years. They declared war on us.
Mm-hmm.
So let's move on to the next part of this. So our first response, again, get our people out of there, reinforce the embassy with Marines, get these Iranian plants out and away from our base and our people protected. Second thing we did, we killed a madman.
Yes.
So, Qasem Soleimani, top general of the Iranian military, one of the top generals of the Iranian military, I should say, who has been a key figure in organizing terrorism throughout the region, terrorist attacks against American soldiers, against Israelis, so on and so forth. He has organized most of it. We blew him the fuck up.
Mm-hmm. Keep in mind, this is a guy who is arguably more powerful than the Iranian president.
Yes.
He is basically second to the Ayatollah. And he's fucking dead now.
And burning in hell where he deserves to be.
I mean, there's no need to even say fuck him, because,
Trump
been there,
did.
done that.
In fact, this is a dramatization of what Donald Trump basically did to this guy.
Fuck him.
Down to the letter. Also, it just came up, but for some reason the notification didn't play, so I'll try to replay it here. There we go. Serena donates $1, says, yeah, people like my dad sing Obama's praises and attribute everything good Trump did to him. Everything bad Obama did to Trump. I think it's a race thing and a hatred of Republicans without understanding why he hates them. Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. Now, basically, this is how it's been put. I think that this is Josh Hammer that had put it in here. Said, commenters have compared Iran's loss of Soleimani to the loss of the defense secretary, head of the CIA, and the head of the FBI simultaneously. So, you think about it, he was basically the number 2 guy in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And people, and again, this should tell you everything about the left these days. People are trying to go to bat for this scumbag, calling him this, I think it was like the New York Times called him a warrior poet.
Yeah, some kind of bullshit like that. And our favorite terrorist sympathizer in Congress, Ilhan Omar, just called him a foreign diplomat. Because
it's like calling Adolf Hitler a painter.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like calling Mao Zedong honorable chairman.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, speaking of bombs and spicy and hell.
Uh-oh.
So every week, of course, we have a donation goal because donations and such help us out here at the channel. Because we are fan funded, this channel is not monetized, and even when we do hit 1,000 subscribers, I am not monetizing it. I would much rather you guys be the source of this podcast than I would anything else in the world. We don't even take sponsors. So, unless the sponsors are an actual fan of the podcast, we're not going to do that. So, what I have decided to do to commemorate this son of a bitch being in hell is that for every $25, I will down a packet of Diablo sauce.
Actually, do I have some Diablo sauce with me? I might. Nope, all out.
So Hatman cannot join me in this.
Nope, I cannot join you in this. Usually I keep some Diablo sauce with me, but not this time.
Now, and Hatman and I have had this conversation. I'm not a big Diablo sauce guy. I actually prefer the mild stuff for the flavor, but yeah, anyway.
I like it. I like the flavor. I can't do heat very well, but I like the flavor of Diablo sauce, so it's worth it to me.
So, the fact of the matter is that I will never understand as to why the left will stand for the Iranians. But, regardless, with this, there has been another one, is now the Iranians have fired missiles at us, towards our troops, and near the embassy. This is from, it's reported just this morning, actually. It says multiple rockets hit a military base in Iraq on Saturday, where U.S. troops were stationed, while mortars were fired at high security facility that houses the embassy. Let's see here. So again, they're attacking our troops. So the question is this, and we need to move on to this next part. This will probably dominate the conversation for the rest of the podcast. Are we headed to World War III? Short answer, no. Shorter answer, no, Tucker Carlson, shut up. And then long answer, Hatman, go ahead.
Long answer, Jesus Christ, how many fucking times have people said that we're entering World War III since Trump took office?
Yeah. This is actually something I got on people, like, in my Discord server about. I'm like, we're not going to war. There's not going to be a World War III over Iran. No. Stop talking about a fucking draft.
Yeah, it ain't happening. Certainly not. How do we know for sure that this is not happening? Motherfucking China and Russia have... Well, Russia hasn't fucking said anything, which they would fucking say something.
Yes, Putin would say something immediately.
Yeah. China had basically said, y'all need to cool your fucking jets. China does not want to get into a war with the U.S., period, especially over some dumb fuck country like Iran. If the U.S. goes down, China fucking goes down.
Yep.
So the two other players on the world stage that would be backing Iran, really, Russia and China, aren't backing them up on this.
Yeah.
There's not going to be a World War III. At least not here. Not with this.
No. Now, Hatman and I were talking about this before the podcast even got started, with what Tucker Carlson said. Mm-hmm. And I honestly think that Tucker Carlson tends to jaw too much and think too little whenever it comes to certain things he says. And then he'll walk it back later. I remember when he did the sit down with Ben Shapiro, the one that people said that he performed so well on. Like, he starts saying that he's for Ludditism, and then when Shapiro starts getting into what Ludditism actually is, he walks his point back. And he's like, well, I think that we should be responsible with our technology, and da-da-da-da-da. It's like, all right, shut up. So, I want to be honest about something on this.
Go for it.
Because one thing that I thought was really stupid is he brought up, like, John Bolton, like, two guys and somebody else two guys who aren't even in the administration anymore, for what's going on. It's like, you can't, even if you, like, you could talk Warhawk, neocon all day. That's fine. Do whatever you want. Here's the problem. First off, if they're not in the administration, it's a moot point. You know, second, and that was one thing I found funny, is people were blaming John Bolton on Twitter, like libertarian Twitter was blaming John Bolton for this. I'm like, he's not in the administration, you idiots. He hasn't been for months. But you can talk about all that all you want. I think it's a straw man at this point. If they're not in the administration, if they don't actually hold power, I think that it's a moot point. George W. Bush is not the president. He has not been the president for a long time. The whole neocon thing has largely moved away to this section of the Republican Party that is more than the minority. It's not even a thing. There aren't new neocons. It's just not happening. I think it's a straw man argument. Honestly, I think that's the problem. We need to talk about this honestly for what's in front of us. So, with the Iranians, and by the way, I'm not saying that we should go to war with them either, and I don't think we're going to go to war with them. I think that we're going to smack them in the areas that they are going to be smacked in, but I don't think we're going to invade or anything. I don't see it happening. And I don't see them trying to invade anybody else. They don't have the resources. And this is something that a lot of people don't understand. Iran is crumbling. They're crumbling financially. They're crumbling militarily. They're crumbling technologically. They are not in a spot to invade another nation. They would lose very badly. The only thing that they have in their own nation, and their own people are starting to revolt against them. They are a paper tiger. But on top of that, let's go back to this, and this is something Tucker Carlson will not talk about, is the history between Iran and the United States for 40 years. They held on to American hostages for 444 days. I have a list here. This is from Reddit. They bombed the embassy in Beirut, killing 63 Americans. They bombed the Marine barracks in Beirut, killing 241 U.S. service members. They mined the Persian Gulf, and one of those mines blew a 15-foot hole in a new U.S. Navy frigate. They bombed the Khobar Towers, killed 19 U.S. airmen. They built EFP armor-penetrating IEDs to arm Shiite terrorists in Iraq, killing and maiming hundreds of U.S. soldiers. In fact, I have a friend named Tim who served in the Marines, who lost a friend to one of those IEDs. That blood's on Iran's hands. And they're happy to have it. They control, train, and fund at least 3 terrorist organizations. One of those terrorist organizations, by the way, actually no, 2 of them, of those 3, have power in the Palestinian government. Palestine might as well be a proxy state for the Iranians.
Mm-hmm.
They use Hezbollah to run narcotics and launder drug money, and they sell some of those narcotics to United States citizens. They bring them here to sell them. They have a long history of harassing shipping throughout the Persian Gulf and detaining and holding U.S. citizens and other Westerners hostage on contrived pretext with impunity. Who's the real aggressor here?
The nation that should no longer have its sovereignty.
Yes.
I mean, just like we said with North Korea, their bullshit should get them stripped of their sovereignty.
Yeah.
Iran's bullshit should get it stripped of its sovereignty.
There are 4 ways to lose your sovereignty according to the UN. That is, harboring weapons of mass destruction with intent to use them, which is chemical, biological, nuclear. Something that constantly needs to be brought up, especially when it comes to Iraq, because Iraq violated 4 of these. All 4.
Mm-hmm. Iran's been trying to make nukes with the purpose to use them.
Yes. Second, harboring and training terrorists. Third is invading a foreign country. Iran has not done that since they tried Iraq. And then there's a 4th one that I'm forgetting.
Oops.
Because Hitchens always brought them up. Oh, genocide. So, which the Iranians have done to their own citizens. So, and by the way, I'm not making a new argument. I mean, in any way, shape, or form. These are the same arguments that Christopher Hitchens was making years ago. And he wrote and was inside of Iran at the time. But people want to ignore things like this. They want to ignore these sorts of things and then try to act like we're the aggressors here. Because the fact of the matter is this. If we went to war with Iran, we would gain 0 things. That's a fact. We would gain nothing. They have nothing we want. So it's not imperialism or things along those lines like the left likes to say. These people, the Iranian government and their military and the terrorists that they harbor and the terrorists that they help train and the terrorists that they help fund, so on and so forth, they want one thing. They have one creed: death to America.
Mm-hmm.
They want us dead. That's it. Now, one thing that, another thing that we were talking about was this, is that, and Hatman, I'll let you kind of rehash the thought or the worry, is this idea that we're going to get stuck in another long war in the middle of nowhere, right?
Right, and that's what I feel like Tucker Carlson's argument boiled down to. Like the war hawks that Trump has either surrounded himself with or have enough of a foothold in the administration, despite not being a part of it, have enough influence, whatever, can use this as an excuse to basically get into an armed conflict with Iran, which is what they've been wanting for the longest fucking time. I mean, we said during the 2016 elections that we were worried that that was something that Hillary Clinton was going to fucking do because she's one of those war hawks. But I think it's losing sight of something extremely simple here, that this was a retaliation for a terror attack. This was not us showing our belly. This was us not turning the other cheek. It was us hitting back.
Yeah. Along that line, Daniel Parker donates $10, says, even after listing off all the things Iran has done, the left still thinks we're the bad guys. Insanity.
Yeah, of course. It's, yeah, I mean, it was deserved. It was absolutely deserved. And again, I don't think this is going to cause endless war in the Middle East. Like, the only way that we would get to that point is if Iran targeted us on U.S. soil, if we had like another 9/11 attack.
Yeah.
I think that is what it would take in order to have like a full boots on the ground invasion. Like that, yeah, that's where it would go. But we're probably not going to see that. If anything, this has been a bitch slap so hard that Iran has just shut the fuck up.
Well, not really, because they just fired missiles at us yesterday. But this isn't over. But here's the thing about this. And this is something that I said to Hatman before we got started. I figured that it would be good to rehash here. What if Iran is the body of the Hydra?
It's possible.
You cut off a Hydra's head, two more pop up. Like that's generally how it goes. And that's been the argument with terrorism in general. Is that, well, how do you kill a Hydra? You take out its heart. You take out the body. Mm-hmm. What if Iran is the source of everything? Does anybody ever think about that whenever it comes to this endless wars debate? That these guys are the ones who are behind everything. Does anybody ever think about that? I don't think they do. I don't think they ever do. We've oddly enough, you and I have been calling this, I think, for a while now, is that at some point we're going to come into contact with Iran. They're going to attack us, because that's all that they have. That's the one thing that they're going to try to do to try to bolster everybody.
Well, they can try, but I think they would fail. I mean, this is what, like, one of the closest things they've gotten to a proper military action against the United States in how fucking long now?
I don't know.
And it's still and it still didn't kill anybody. I mean, it's all bluster, and it's reminiscent of what happened with North Korea. North Korea, all fucking bluster. No real teeth behind it. But even then, North Korea pretty much shut the hell up as soon as we started showing some force towards them. I mean, Iran can launch missiles and shit, but they're really not going to go with any more direct action beyond just strikes like that.
Yeah, the only other nation in the world that funds even nearly as much terrorism or anything like that, or is behind any of it, would be the Saudis. But even then, the question that I would ask is, if Iran was a completely different nation within the next 5 years, would that even still be going on? Because the whole Sunni Shiite thing has been largely the conflict there.
Yeah.
So I am not of the belief that if we were like, and then again, this is game theory. So I'm not saying that we should do this, but this is an if we went to war with Iran over this and we destroyed them, I don't see it being the same as Iraq. I don't.
No.
Because Iran, first off, I don't think Trump is interested in nation building.
No.
Second,
I don't think so either.
The Iranian people don't want what the mullahs offer anymore. You have to keep in mind Iran's biggest problem right now, aside from us, is their own citizens, who are throwing off their hijabs, who are openly protesting and dying for it. Because they want freedom.
I mean, there are people now in Iran that now they've called for 3 days of mourning for General Dumbfuck. They're calling for 3 days of celebration and baking cakes.
Yeah.
Because he's fucking dead.
They're happy that he's dead.
Yes. And they should be. They should be.
So yeah, I don't think that we're going to go to war anyway. But I think that we can't pretend that when it comes to the causes of a lot of these problems that we have in the Middle East and so on and so forth, that it doesn't stem from the Iranians. And by the way, this is something that needs to be mentioned. This has not been a bad move for Trump either. His approval rating went up.
Yeah, I don't agree with the people saying that this is going to cost him another election, or he's going to get blasted by his own party for it. For the most part, most people in his party are definitely for this, and you even got some folks on the other side of the aisle that are praising this action. Like the only thing that they can really bitch about is, well, why weren't we in the loop on this?
Yeah.
I guess they wanted to throw their own "he's fucking dead" parties, huh?
Yeah. Like, I could give a shit less, like, what Tulsi Gabbard thinks about this move from Donald Trump. Tulsi Gabbard is shockingly civil, which is a nice thing to see. She is unbearably naive and incredibly soft on terror.
She's got more of an isolationist viewpoint than anything else, and it's kind of impossible to be full isolationist at this point.
Yeah.
The world is too interconnected.
No, it's not going to happen at this point. Pure isolationism is a pipe dream. And that's the same issue that I have with Rand Paul too. You know, and that's part of the reason why I don't think I ever said Rand Paul for president. I was always a Ted Cruz guy. You know, it's because Rand is, when it comes to foreign policy, he is just, he tends to be very short-sighted. So, yeah, and I agree with Tom the Fish on this. Tulsi likes Assad. She has no legitimacy. When it comes to discussions on the Middle East, I completely agree, which is why I don't listen to her. I could never, you know.
Yeah, remember, all the arguments that she is not a real Democrat, bullshit. She's not your fucking bae.
Yeah.
Although, to be honest, like, I don't think she's going to be a Democrat before the year's over.
Fair point.
I think she'll go independent.
Yeah. But that's generally my thoughts on this whole subject. Hatman, I'm going to let you just kind of close out your thoughts on this for 2 minutes, and then we'll go ahead and go into Q&A.
Okay. I'm kind of conflicted because in the end, I am kind of worried that this might lead to an escalation, if only because the wrong advice would be followed and, more boots end up on the ground. Like there was talk of dispatching like 4,000 reserve soldiers to the Middle East. I think 700 from Bragg went already. That might have been the Marine response.
Probably no, Bragg's army, but that would be an enthusiastic
Army and Air Force, I believe.
Yeah, well, because the only reason I know that is my dad trained out of Bragg.
Yeah, well, my ex-girlfriend used to work at Bragg. So anyway,
but just one thing to say here, like that if you're coming out of Bragg, that's an enthusiastic response of send us.
Mm-hmm.
Those are, I love our boys. And by the way, good to see Assassin of the Grey back in the chat, one of our resident veterans here. Those boys are hardcore, always.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue.
But anyway, like I am worried about that, but that's literally just a perpetual worry. That someone is going to follow the wrong advice and get us stuck in the Middle East again. I mean, that's been a concern of mine, God, since what I first really got involved in politics in 2008. But at the same time, like, you've got to think about it from a leadership perspective. Motherfucker hits you, attacks one of your embassies. I mean, clearly something that cannot be fucking tolerated. And Trump has not tolerated this shit historically. Absolutely has not. So it stands to reason that, of course, there would be a strike back. But this wasn't like a strike straight at Iran. I mean, this was Baghdad International Airport.
Mm-hmm.
He was killed in Iraq, but is one of their high-level guys. I mean, if that's not a message of we're not going to tolerate this, I don't know what is. And that's the thing. It's a message of we won't tolerate this, not a message of we're going to fucking murder you. Like it's not a we will destroy you message. His stuff on Twitter about don't do it again is the or else. But this is a clapback, I guess I could say. God, I need to leave those terms in 2019 where they belong.
Yes, please.
But but yeah, no, it's look at it for what it is. It is a retaliation for a terror attack. A true retaliation, not some bullshit. Well, we're gonna impose sanctions on you, and we're gonna get the UN to say mean things about you, which has not worked. It has not slowed shit. It has not worked for fucking anybody. I mean, how many times did we have to impose sanctions on Iran, on North Korea, get the UN to do that? And how many times have they still pursued their bullshit against us? North Korea continued to fucking build missiles. They continued nuclear research. Iran continued nuclear research, continued to fund terrorists. And what gets them to fucking stop is use of force. This shit was necessary. Like it or not, this was necessary. You don't have to like it, but at the end of the day, I think it was the right move to make.
There we go.
And yes, the UN is useless as fuck. Abolish them already.
Yep. Serena puts in $1, says, question, I know this is going to sound stupid. Why did women in the Middle East have to wear hijabs in the first place? During the 1920s, their culture and fashion was indistinguishable from U.S. women. What happened there? The Iranian Revolution.
Yeah, it was a more radical and ultra conservative reading of the Quran that ended up basically being given power.
Imagine if...
I mean, it's like...
The best way that I can put it is that imagine if a theocratic wing of, like, the Polish Christians took over Poland. It's sort of akin to that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, like the primitive Baptists taking over the United States.
Yeah, something along those lines. Like if Nick Fuentes became the president, like that's the sort of thing you're looking at.
God fucking forbid.
No, that'll never happen.
But yeah, thank God. But yeah, that's what it was. It was an ultra conservative sect of Islam that was also tied to communists.
Yep. All right, let's go ahead and move into the Q&A.
Don't forget that.
So, got
Q&A
quite a few from the Discord
Basically
server.
one topic this whole show.
Mm-hmm. I figured it would be. So, Talon Silvermane says, though I know you both are Trump supporters, I was wondering if there's been anything so far in his term that you disagree or would agree with the left about him. So it seems any complaining against Trump is dismissed as crazy left nonsense. So, we actually did disagree with him on the Syria thing. A lot of people forget that.
Yep.
Because we basically did... That was one of the funniest podcasts that I think I can think of when you go back and look at the live chat replay, is we go on all these reasons and talk about why Trump did what he did, and then we said, but at the end of the day, we still disagree with it.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's like, no, you're a neocon, you agree. I'm like, no, I actually don't agree. And people like lost their shit, and I'm like...
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, like I no. So that was one. Yeah, like that was definitely one. I think that a lot of the tariff talk that he uses, I've not been a big fan of. I'm a big free market guy. That's kind of about it. You know, he's governed pretty conservatively. Mm-hmm. I've been pretty happy with him so far. Another thing has been, though, there have been restrictions on firearms that have been placed by his administration that I completely disagree with, and
Bump stock ban.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
that's basically the only one. Yeah. Yeah. I've got several. Y'all remember our infamous disagreement over Betsy DeVos as Secretary of Education? I still stand by that. I still think she was not the best choice. Even though I absolutely agree with what she did in regards to Title IX, I still don't think that she was the best choice. I generally don't like the way that Trump conducts himself uh, in public and on Twitter and whatnot, if only because it invites all kinds of controversy, and it really gets maddening. Now I know this is mostly a nitpick, but it gets maddening to the point where I'm just like, Jesus Christ, just stop, just go back to the boring politics and not the, oh my God, is shit going to hit the fan politics or the WWE politics, really? Because it seems like a constant circus and whatnot. In a way, like, I do appreciate how he's as direct as possible with the American public, but at the same time, like, it constantly invites bullshit, and on top of that, absolutely pants on head retarded takes from the left that give me brain damage. Um, Aside from that, I guess I don't know how I feel about him bringing his family so close to everything. Like, I know that's a carryover from how he ran his business, but at the same time, you know, them having security clearances that they do, I don't know how I feel about that. It just it feels like a little bit too much. But aside from that, no major complaints about policy.
Yep.
Oh, actually, one more. The vaping ban.
Oh yes.
Trying to ban vapes and shit, and then jacking up the age to buy tobacco to 21. That, I think, is absolute fucking nonsense.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
Yeah.
So chalk that one up for me as well.
Yeah.
Chaos Sonic wants to know, while I agree with you that there's no World War III, I do find it hilarious that as soon as a draft could happen, yes, I know there might not be a draft. There won't be a draft. We have 3 million active service members and I think another 2 million in reserve.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that for a second. So if we go to war, that's 5 million forces. 5 million active at that point. We don't need a draft. That is the biggest military in the world. So let's squash that right there. Feminists say they'd rather be housewives than soldiers, as if they're hypocrites. Now that's more, and the rest of it, what he says is more of a statement. So I'll just say that basically, there's no draft coming. We don't need a draft.
Yeah.
Now recruitment is down because a lot of Americans just aren't in as good a shape as they used to be.
Right.
But I think that will probably change with the Zoomers. I think that we're going to see more of that generation sign up for the military instead of going to college.
Well, there needs to be more benefits too. Like, there's a lot of
pay needs to go up.
Pay definitely needs to go up, and they need to fix what's going on with the fucking VA.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Well, there needs to be a voucher program.
Oh my God, yes.
Let's just fuck the VA. Just do a voucher program.
Just do something, because
my buddy
people are getting fucked.
Yeah, whenever I talk about voucher programs to any of my buddies who are vets, which my buddy David, I know you watch this at work, buddy. Let's talk sometime. He and I had a long conversation about this one night while we were working shift security, about how a voucher program would be far superior than the VA. I think about guys who don't necessarily need physical help, but need mental help. How much that they are fucked over by the VA. Like, they should be able to go to the psychiatrist that they want to go to. Let's see here. Holy Ingesto says, would it actually be a good idea for us to go to war against Iran due to the domestic instability Iran has suffered in recent years, or would it unite the country? I would say that if we went to Iran, I see it playing, if we fought Iran, it would play out like this. The war would not actually be in Iran, it would be in Iraq. Probably with forces that we already have there that we would end up reinforcing. Then from there, Iran would probably crumble from the inside out. And then, there would be a different government within 5 years. That's how I see it playing out if it ever happens. CT117 asks, what do you guys have to say with the leftists who keep siding with Iran on Twitter? You're supporting terrorism.
Period. Fuck you.
That's what they're
Fuck
doing.
you, Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Colin Kaepernick.
I'd love to box
Stop
Colin
defending
Kaepernick.
terrorism.
I'd love to.
I would pay to watch that.
I'm fat and out of shape right now. I'd still probably light him up.
I would pay to watch that.
Actually, no, I probably wouldn't light him up. But if you gave me 6 months of training after the end of that, I would light him up. And a lot of people don't know this. I'm actually as big as Kaepernick is.
Do a charity match.
Well, no, because he would probably donate it to Antifa.
Ah, shit.
And unlike you, I won't fund... No, I'm kidding. So people don't know this. This is a joke here.
I said...
Hatman accidentally funded terrorism once.
I accidentally funded terrorism because I bought the Antifa handbook, and in the intro it said half of the proceeds are going to go to Antifa groups worldwide. And I'm like, God damn it! I funded terrorism.
Yeah. So. All right. So, chat, what questions do you guys have for us?
I like Will Geary's question here.
What is it?
Why do leftists think single-payer healthcare will work when the closest thing we have to it, the VA, sucks?
I know, right? I agree wholeheartedly. We've been bagging on the VA before. When we first started this podcast, Donald Trump was not the president, and one thing that we said right out of the gate is that the VA is trash. Fix the VA. That was one of our big things. Is fix the fucking VA.
Yep.
Oh, everybody's calling for a shame the Hatman on the whole thing. So even though that was probably one of my favorite episodes of Micah and The Hatman, I'm still gonna shame you for fucking terrorists. Everyone shame the Hatman.
Shame. 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 Shame.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm kind of retarded.
I don't remember. Did we do that episode on this channel or was it on my channel?
I believe it was this channel.
Okay.
I believe it was.
So if you guys go digging in the background, you will find the.
It was the review of Antifa, the anti-fascist handbook. You'll see it.
And for those who don't remember, that was probably, oddly enough, the last time I was as sick as I was recently.
Yeah.
Having vertigo issues and things like that. So people have actually asked me, are you worried? Did you need to go to the ER? It's I've actually been having these issues with migraines for years. So, as every once in a while, in the winter, I'll get sick for a whole month. It's why at one point I will probably move south, because I think the weather has something to do with it.
Don't move south right now because the weather is fucking with a lot of people's sinuses.
Oh, as long as it's warmer, then I would be fine, probably.
Well, it's about... 40-some degrees right now?
I could live with that. It snowed last night.
No, 52 degrees right now.
Dude, that sounds awesome.
Now, come on.
Anyway, let's keep
going. All right, let's get to some questions real quick, because we only got 3 minutes left. We need to hit some questions.
Oh, Jesus. Let's see here. Autist Whisperer wants to know, thoughts on the wildfire in Australia and if the climate change argument has been brought up? Yes, it has been. Apparently 500 million animals have died. So my twin, Liam Gray, actually said that it's the government's fault that it even happened in the first place.
Yeah, it is. Apparently the PM, Scott Morrison, is just a complete fucking dumbass about how to handle it. He's been going about it the whole fucking wrong way. So, yeah, fix your shit, Roofucker Stan.
All right. Koopa's Revenge Home says, is it possible the Antichrist referred in the book of Revelations referred to Muhammad? No.
No.
Definitely not Muhammad. World would have been over by now.
Yeah. Wasn't Nero either.
No.
I know that's a common...
A lot of theories
argument,
on it.
it
It hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
Might not happen for another 500,000 years for all we know. So don't even...
Don't know the time or the date.
Yes. You are not God. Stop trying to predict it. Not to mention, Antichrist gets used 2 different ways. So let's do a theology thing. Are you ready, Hatman?
I suppose. I guess this is going to be the last question, huh?
Yeah, this is going to be... It has to be, because I have to fucking set this straight. So, the term Antichrist...
All right, go for it.
The term Antichrist is not one person and was actually used before Revelation. What it means is a false prophet. Someone who speaks in the word of God but does not actually represent what God wants. That is what the term means, and was used by Paul, if I recall correctly, before Peter did. I'm sorry, before John did. And that's basically what it means. A lot of people constantly say like it's this, something that comes straight out of Revelation. It does not. It is not from Revelation originally. It is from before that. The fact of the matter is that there have been a lot of people that you could say is the Antichrist. But it means exactly what it sounds like. Against Christ. Not this sort of... It's not the Omen. And it's not Left Behind. God. Can I just say this right now? So, we're going to get a rant to close this out. Left Behind, those books are the worst novels to impact Christianity. Probably the worst event to impact Christianity since the Night of Long Knives. Like, holy crap.
I'm sorry, the movies, though. Have you seen the movies?
Yes, they're awful.
Oh my God. Such a shame.
There has been an endless amount of speculation about the end times, and a lot of it was sparked when those fucking novels came out, and they suck. They're actually poorly written. But somehow they gained popularity in evangelical circles, and now everybody is the fucking Antichrist. Stop it! You don't even know what the word means. I swear, I need to go on the Micah Curtis Slaps Christianity tour. Where I go from church to church and just start slapping people.
Oh my God.
Stop! Which would no, and that's what I'm saying is there's not a the Antichrist. There's like tons of them. It's an. There is no the. An, A-N, meaning that there can be several of them. Stop it! Stop with the bad theology! It drives me crazy. Somebody just says, I can't wait for Mike S. Miller to take that out of context. Well, Mike Miller would be on that slapping tour. The problem is I'd have to crouch down to reach him.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
Him and Doug TenNapel. Neither of them have good theology. Neither of them. They're honestly both trash at it. This is what I find hilarious, is like people have encouraged me for years to do a theological show and discuss theology on a channel, and I won't do it. Those guys, nobody's asking them to do it, and they do it constantly. Oh. About that time, isn't it?
Yeah, it's about that time.
All right, folks.
Unless you want to go for another hour on this.
No. I want to talk entertainment. I want to talk about fun. Because I had fun yesterday. I had 33 hours of fun yesterday. And the day before. 33 straight hours of fun, guys. That was awesome. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about... we're going to talk about me becoming a meme. Or a meme being basically that looks exactly like me. Oddly enough, saying something that I would say. So, yeah. We're going to talk about the new guy meme. We're going to talk about... Haven's going to talk about Food Wars, but I'm going to talk about The Witcher. And we got some other good stuff, too. Like the Wrath of the Raylos. So, alright. Let's go ahead and get rolling with this stuff. So we're going to sign off for a little bit. In about 15 minutes, we will start the Entertainment Podcast. So, till that time, my name is Micah Curtis.
And I'm Alex Baldwin, and it's been one of those shows, hasn't it?
Yes, absolutely. We'll see you guys soon. Deus Volt.
Deus Volt.
Read Bonhoeffer.